Hey guys, I have just bought a new TV. This is the Sony S95B, which is one of the first QD OLED TVs out there. And it's gonna replace my old monitor, or TV, but I'm using it as a monitor for my computer, which is the LG C9, which is not a QD OLED, but it is an OLED from a couple of years ago. And yeah, I mean, excuse the mess first of all, because it's actually pretty difficult to get a side-by-side review of two large screen TVs in a crowded studio. But you know, doing the best I can, and I'm not a professional YouTuber, so it's not going to be the highest of standards, this review. But I guess on the plus side, that means that I did buy this with my own money. It's not like a sponsored thing. They didn't send it to me for a free review either. I put my own money into buying this, and I'll be using it as my primary second monitor. That sounded weird. Yeah, my primary monitor is the an actual computer monitor, but I use an OLED as kind of viewing the things that I'm making when I'm doing things like professional color grading. I'll tell you real quickly why I bought it. So the LG C9, a couple of years ago, it was all the rage. Everyone was talking about it. It was quite amazing because it was future-proofed, because it could do 120 hertz at 4K, which was quite amazing at the time. But no one really told you that it is a really dark monitor. When you're doing professional color grading, it is really annoying when the screen is dark. And this is just a very temporary studio I'm in right now. I'm still renovating my proper studio, so do subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can see in the future I'll be doing a very cool studio, but it's in the works. But that studio will be dark, and even here in this improvised studio, I usually keep it really dark because I do most of my work really early in the morning, so it's gonna be pitch black anyway. But even when it's pitch black in this room, the LG C9 is just not bright enough. If you do remember, or maybe still to this day, if you go to the TV shop and you view these, they always show these black backgrounds with like a honey pouring down or something like that, which is so misleading, because if you're doing something like that, it is a bright monitor, but that's because it's not the pixels themselves that are limited, it's like the whole output of the monitor. So if you then if you have a black background, that piece of honey that's pouring is going to be really bright. But if the entire background is bright, like if you're watching a hockey game or a soccer game or something like that, it is so ridiculously dark, the screen. So I've been waiting for a QD OLED to come out so that I can finally replace that. QD OLED is kind of known for being brighter, but also the colors are stronger. And while I was at it, I was going to upgrade the size. This is a 55 inch and this is 65 inch. One of the critique that the new Samsung will get is that it only goes up to 65 inch. And I do agree that, yeah, if you have a large living room, I also can't really imagine watching a movie or something like that at 65 inch. I think that is too small, unfortunately. So for a lot of you, I think you'll have to wait till next year to get QD OLED that are in larger size. But in my case, I'm standing over there. It's a standing desk, so it's about 1.5 meters or so, like that viewing distance. So I think 65 is actually quite perfect size for me. So anyway, on to the review. The first thing I want to talk about is the stand, and this is why I warned you guys that it's not a professional review, because I just realized that I don't think you can see the stand in the shot. Oh well, doing the best I can here. So this stand is, I put it up on this stand temporarily just so I can put these side by side, but I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna put it on a wall mount, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but this thing here is on that wall mount. So I think that is crucial, because you want to be able to tilt it up and down, which I don't know if you can do on this. Well, I'm not even going to try it. So if you are going to put it on the stand, if you're not going to do it the way I do it, then I would be worried. Because first of all, this stand is freaking ugly. I know you can't even see it right now, but But the LG C9, which you also can't see the stand on because it's on the wall mount, so I've completely removed the stand. That stand is actually really beautiful. It's really futuristic and curved. Whereas, yeah, this Samsung stand is just way too simplistic. It looks really dangerous even. That's why my dog isn't joining me for today's review, because I don't want him in this room right now because of all the cables. I feel like that big dog, if he bumps into this thing, I don't want it to fall down. Yeah, it looks really finicky, this stand. But that might just be looks deceiving. Even if it is strong, it still just looks plain ugly. The other thing, while I'm in that area, is that the bottom side here, it has like this gray bar at the bottom of it. And if you compare that to like the LG C9, there's nothing. It's just LG C9 is just so beautiful monitor or TV, because it's just a black bar, and it feels like, and it's so thin as well, which is quite amazing. It just feels like a portal to another world. Whereas the Samsung is just so ugly because it has this silver bar that just breaks that look. But I am nitpicking a little bit here. And also like the backside of the Samsung looks so cheap, whereas the backside of the C9 just looks so expensive and nicely designed. So I'm not sure why that is. Like if the engineers at Samsung, if they don't really understands design the way that LG does, I don't know. But ultimately, I guess that's not really what the consumers want. They want to have some good picture quality. And so for me, like the biggest question was, is it going to be brighter? And the answer is yes. I mean, first of all, don't take it from me. Like, if you want to know how bright it is, you go to rting.com. They do like really good ratings, and they will actually measure it. And I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm not going to measure the brightness. I'm just going to tell you. So that's why I bought it, because I saw the numbers and I liked it. I'm just going to tell you what I can tell, my first impressions with using my own eyes. And I would say that even though the numbers were impressive, so far I'm not really that convinced that it's that much better. It is a little bit brighter, but I actually don't know if that's just because they're kind of boosting the color, like if you're putting it to pure white, of course there's nothing they can do to boost the color. But if you're having like scenes like this, they might be artificially kind of pushing the gamma or something like that to make it look brighter. And that's why I want to go into filmmaker mode to make sure that doesn't happen. And right now I can't even figure out, like if I go into the menu system, if I go into picture mode, if you can see that even, it says, I can't do that in the game mode, so I have to turn off game mode. If I turn off game mode, it gives me picture mode of like graphics or entertainment. That's it. So I can't even figure out how to put it into filmmaker mode. So, but in either case, I suppose maybe I do want to keep it in game mode, but I don't know how accurate it is, because I've heard that you kind of want to be in filmmaker mode for accuracy. So this is something I will probably go into later on when I've used the TV for longer. But if you compare that to the C9, I have similar complaints about the C9. That, well, if I go into the advanced settings, so the C9 has these kind of expert, bright, dark room, Technicolor expert, user. They have those really cool settings. But for some reason I never liked the expert setting. It was like, it almost gave like a weird green tint. I never really understood it. But anyway, I will cover this later on. I'm gonna do proper testing. I'm gonna calibrate them as well. Interestingly enough, Samsung actually has, you can use your Samsung phone if you have a Samsung phone. And this is, I have some kind of Samsung phone. I think it's the 22 version, S22, and you can actually calibrate it with this, which is really clever. I haven't tried because I'm just going to bring professional calibration. Is quite important for me. So so after I've done that, it's gonna take a while. You know, I haven't even put it up yet. So after I've done that, then maybe I can make a follow-up video where I actually talk about the brightness. But I will say that if I assume that it's not the color profile that's faking the brightness, I will say that I am interpreting it as being just a little bit brighter than the C9, and hopefully that might be enough for the dark room. If you have daylight in the living room, forget about it. I don't think you're gonna be happy with an OLED for the next couple of years, maybe one day. But luckily I'm not gonna do this in a bright room anyway, so for a dark room I'm hoping that the extra brightness will be just enough, and I think it is. I'm being positive here. I think it will be. It is a little bit brighter. Anyway, just random little quirks. What I really should point out first of all is that this TV is almost completely unusable if you don't hack it. So you have to turn off the ABL, the automatic brightness limiter. You can notice that I haven't touched. This is a video. I'm not sure if you're allowed to use copyrighted videos. I just took a random video from my Mavic drone on a cold morning here in New Zealand. And what was I saying again? Yeah, if I had just stopped this like here, this screen would have gotten so dark so quickly. It's almost laughable. Like, the first thing I did when I connected this before I had the ABL turned off is there's like on the phone you can turn on it was like a fireplace, ambient fireplace. I thought that could be cool while I'm setting it up. And that fireplace, it got so dark so quickly because it's a static shot that it was just like laughable. It was just like, I can't believe they would put something. This was the first screen of the Samsung app. I can't believe they would put something that makes the TV look that ridiculous, because within like a minute or at least what seemed like a minute, it was so dark that I was just making a mockery of the TV basically. But if you turn off the ABL, it will stay at the brightest setting. But I don't know if that's gonna ruin your warranty or not. It might actually. So you need to hack the TV to do that. Luckily, I will make a separate video because everyone tells you that you can't do it unless you buy a service remote or an old remote. I figured out a way you can do it without it. So I'll make a separate video about that. But again, I don't actually know if your warranty will still be valid with doing that change. And I've done that change because without it, like it's useless. Like you can't use it as a monitor if it's gonna get dark within like a couple of seconds. It's ridiculous. But yeah, after doing that hack, now it stays on, and I've done the same hack on my LG C9. And that's another. Yeah, if you still have the LG C9, they say the same, that you can't use the regular remote for it. But that's also untrue. There's a way you can do it without the regular remote. So the LG C9 had the same problem of automatic brightness limiter, but it wasn't as fast as the Samsung. I don't understand what Samsung was thinking, making it that sudden. So anyway, about the remotes, I'm just gonna go all over the place on this review, as I'm holding the remotes here anyway. The LG C9 feels really modern, because you just point it, and you just... and yeah, actually sometimes when people are here and watching, they're really impressed about the remote. Because yeah, it's so easy. Like you don't even have to look at the remote. You're just like looking at the screen and just going into the setting. It's so quick. It's so nice, especially if you're using it as a TV and you're lying in bed and you just like do. It's quite amazing actually. And I was kind of hoping for something more futuristic from the Samsung, because it's how old is that thing? I think this might be 3 years newer. Instead, this remote is really bad. I mean, first of all, it doesn't have that functionality. I mean, who knows, maybe it's a patented technology, so maybe it's not their fault. But yeah, so for the first time in years now, I'm actually having to look at the remote. And I'm having to like really think about everything. So if I press like the setting thing, it will show me... no, this time it worked. usually when I press the setting, it will show me this. The first time that happened, I was like, what? What is this? Like, is this different color profile? I don't. So you had to press the setting and then press up, and then you get the setting. And it was just, I'm sure I can figure it out, but I'm just saying, I don't like the initial impression I'm getting. I feel like it's a bad design, bad remote. I guess it's pretty cool that it's a small remote, but how quickly is this gonna get lost? If there's one complaint, I mean, this is a bulky one, so I like that. If you put this on the desk, it's actually, it's quite easily recognizable, and a lot of these buttons are colored, so it makes it stand out. I don't have to look for this that much. This one is just such, the profile of it is just too thin. So, I mean, I don't even know if you can tell, if you can see this thing, because, it's just that small, and I feel like I'm gonna be looking for this a lot. So I think the first thing I need to do is I need to buy some red tape and like pull it around, otherwise I'm gonna lose this thing. It is solar charged, which I suppose is futuristic, although, let's see, have I ever changed the batteries on my LG? The LG one, it broke after 2 years, so they sent me a new one, which is, I guess, kind of embarrassing, because if it wasn't in warranty, I don't know what I would have done. So that's not a good sign when something breaks. You know, I haven't been throwing it around. It's been in my studio, like, it's been taken very good care of. But so I guess they changed the battery when I sent it back, or maybe I did. But other than that, I don't think I ever changed the battery, so I don't really care about solar charging. My batteries are rechargeable anyway, so I guess it's a cool braggable feature, but I don't really care. But so with this menu, I just feel like I have to think about everything I'm doing, which doesn't feel as good. And the other thing is, you go into setting. The first time I went into setting, I was quite surprised, and I'm not sure if you can see all the way over here. No, I guess you cannot. Anyway, the settings menu is really low resolution. It looks so bad. It looks like they've scaled a picture that's like 4 times smaller than it should be on 4K. So if you're standing up close that I'm standing right here now, it looks really, it looks like the TV is really bad. But you don't panic, because it's not the TVs that bad, it's just the system that I guess was designed back in when they had 720p monitors or something like that, because the text is just really compressed, blurry, and then behind the text, the actual menu itself is like really like dithering but soft. Anyway, who cares? Like, it's just a menu system, but again, it just comes off as a cheap TV, even though this one is almost double as much as this one. Whereas the LG, the menu system, I guess, I don't think this is bitmap. I don't know if it's bitmap or vector, but it's like the result is just perfect. It's pixel perfect everything, and that just makes it feel like a really expensive TV. For the colors, I will have to do future testing, because the point is that these colors can be much stronger. So what I did is I put my Windows background to be like red and green, and I was surprised that it wasn't really stronger, but that could just be the color profile. It could be that I have to use like a HDR kind of situation to really be able to go beyond simple red, because you don't really want to push regular colors into being too deep. But all in all, I think I am pretty happy with this TV. And if you follow my channel, I'll make a video of how to turn off the automatic brightness limiter. Also, I have been warned, and I'm seeing it now, that you're getting a lot of fringe kind of effect, and it has something to do with how the pixels, the green, red and blue, is kind of laid out, which means that if you're very close, you will kind of see, right now I'm seeing a green fringe here. It's actually very noticeable, but hopefully not when I'm standing 1.5 meters away. Apparently it's kind of an unavoidable artifact of using QD OLED, for now at least. And yeah, that's about it that I have to say for now. But I really just hope I wasn't downplaying the ABL problem, because even though I have figured out a way to do it without buying a service remote, it involves using the Samsung app. In order to use that app, you have to give them everything. They know everything about your phone, and you have to tell them. They absolutely must know how old you are, your full name, and everything about you, your telephone number, everything, before you're allowed to use your phone as a remote. Which you could very well question, okay, why does it need to know that much information about me just so I can use it as a remote? And I shouldn't actually downplay that. It's actually quite serious. I should be more angry than I am, because that is ridiculous. But anyway, I'll cover that more in the video where I explain how to do it. So yeah, thank you for listening.